Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Heroes Global Circuit. This is the Philippines Finals happening right now. My name is Arctic Shadow, and I'll be your caster for today. This is going to be Renovatio going up against Skyline. This is game number 2 happening. In the first round, we saw Renovatio take down a 10-minute GG game really quickly with their lineup. It just wasn't Skyline's day. They weren't able to deal with the Lieutenant Morales. I think it was more of a draft problem in the first game. So hopefully this time around, second game, we will have a slightly better draft coming out from them and something they can actually, force Renovatio to go into slightly more later game. But it was Dragonshire on the first map. I believe the draft has started. Let's go straight into it. It is going to be Infernal Shrine. So more shrines to be activated here by these two teams. Again, as you can see, Renovatio are going up against Skyline. They are 1-0 ahead. This is going to be a double elimination, guys. So if Skyline loses this game, this is by no means does that mean that they are out. So for you Skyline fans, they are still very much in it. They will drop down into the lower bracket, where I believe it is going to be a best of one. So anything can happen in best of ones. All it takes is one mistake, even for Renovatio to ultimately lose, and that's what happened. I believe in the previous circuit during the C regionals, where Resurgence was pushed down to the lower bracket. And then Renovatio actually beat them out eventually in the grand finals as well, which was something that was really shocking to everyone. So will Renovatio be able to maintain both their crown in the Philippines as well as in Southeast Asia? Or will Resurgence this time around come back and snatch it back from them and get that ticket to DreamHack? We will find this out next week, of course, during the C regionals. Hopefully, one of the other teams in Malaysia or Thailand could put up a fight as well to maybe put up a showing, and maybe we will have a new champion yet again. We always look forward to these shock encounters between the teams. But yep, getting back to today, it is going to be the Philippines finals. Renovatio going up against Skyline. The drafting has begun. Let's take a quick look. Renovatio getting the first ban. They do ban out the Kael'thas here. Sorry, no, actually, Skyline getting the first ban. And they do ban out the Zul. On a map like Infernal Shrines, I guess Zul is a viable ban, it's fine. But we didn't see Zul being banned out the previous game or picked up, so maybe they know something that we don't know. Maybe they screamed against Renovatio a little bit and they know that they have a secret tactic here on Infernal Shrines with the Zul. They do pick up the Muradin, Tiranda, and Uther, so they seem to like to go for the double support combination. But this time around, Skyline, I think they have a stronger double support combination. The previous game we saw Rhaegar as well as what was it? Rhaegar and Tasada being the two supports for Skyline, which I didn't really think had synergy, because Rhaegar was a hard support and Tasada can be annoying and it's more of a utility kind of support. So you usually pick up a Tasada when you want to go with an Illidan and that whatnot, but instead they went with a Tasada and a Rhaegar, which I didn't think really had that much of synergy in terms of that. So hopefully this time around with the Tiranda Uther, we will be able to see them do slightly better. The second bans, of course, are going to be Sylvanas and that Li Ming. So Renovatio banning out both mages here. It just seems like they don't want to deal with any mages. Previous game, they did pick up the Kael'thas themselves, but this time around, it does look like they're going with a heavy assassin build instead of with those mages. They do pick up the Grey Mage, Sonya and Rhaegar. So we saw what the Sonya could do in the previous game, just going forward with the Lieutenant Morales. We did actually get to see a medic, guys. For the first time, I think this entire series that I've been casting, that I finally got to see a medic. So that was really interesting to see, and we just saw that Skyline didn't have any heroes to deal with that medic, of course. But here in this game, we will have Rhaegar instead being picked up, and Johanna being shadow picked right now for Team Renovatio. I think that's fine. They have good, strong DPS in the form of Greymane and Sonya already. Sonya, of course, a strong upfront bruiser that can dish out quite a bit of damage. And Greymane, we've talked about this before. Greymane, one of the strongest DPS classes right now in the game. So, yep, right now, taking a look at the draft, I think Renovatio has a pretty solid draft. They have a strong front line in Johanna as well, just to soak and tank out the damage and just to be a bit of an annoyance. So the reason they picked up the Johanna as well is because I think both mages are banned out in Kiltas and Li Ming, and that's going to help them in terms of the blinds. So this is going to force Skyline to pick up more melee heavy, I mean like auto attack heavy heroes, such as you can see being shadow picked right now, Lunara, and maybe finishing it off with like another Falstart or something like that, or a Troll as we saw them pick up in the previous game. And Johanna's going to help with that because there are more auto attack heroes, and that blind is going to actually stop them from, you know, dishing out that damage. So as you can see, shadow pick Troll straight away, so, and then Falstart. So exactly my predictions there. You know, Falstart not so much of an auto attack, but I guess slightly as well. So the Johanna blind is going to play quite a bit of a role for Renovatio here, since considering they were able to ban out both the Kiltas and the Li Ming. Illidan isn't banned out, which I'm actually pretty surprised that they did not pick up the Illidan. Maybe Philippine teams just don't really like the Illidan. We have seen slightly more unorthodox and different lineups for coming out of the Philippines so far. I would love to see a medic again because I think he's a really underrated hero. As we saw in the previous game, he does have a 100% winning streak, guys, based on all the games that we have casted. So he won that one game that he was picked up, so it's a 100% winning streak, just saying. But yeah, Skyline will be able to finish off their lineup with the Falstad. So a pretty decent lineup, I guess. Muradin, Troll for the front lines, you know, Bruiser in Troll. They will have the DPS in Falstad. He isn't a super crazy high DPS kind of hero, but he does do enough. He doesn't really do a huge amount of burst, more sustained damage. They do have the Tyrande, which probably will go a slightly more DPS oriented build, especially with the Starfall for the zoning, along with Uther as the hard support. So it seems that this is the type of build that Skyline likes to go for, as we saw in the previous game as well. They like to go with the double bruiser and double healer combination with the one solo DPS, which I guess could work in certain situations, but I don't like it personally, because generally it's either you go a double bruiser with a solo healer, solo support, or you go a double support with a solo tank and pick up the double DPS. That's generally how it goes. But they are going with this as a slightly different, more unorthodox kind of a lineup. It didn't work out in their favor the previous game. Hopefully this time around we will be able to see them actually do it. Renovatio are going to finish off their lineup with the Arbiter, and I really like that. I think the Arbiter really fits into their team quite well. He will be able to clone out the Sonya. And imagine two Sonyas or two Greymanes on your ass, constantly chasing you down. And on a map like Infernal Shrines, you know, when you're supposed to be able to control the map really well, those mines are going to play a huge role in just slowing down Team Skyline here. They have the Johanna for the front lines, and for the first time, we aren't going to see an ETC in the game, even though it isn't banned out. So we will have a Muradin though, however. So the full lineup is going to be Greymane, Sonya, Rhaegar, Johanna, as well as that Abathur for Team Renovatio, who are one game up in this best of 3 series, of course. Greymane and Sonya to provide the damage up front, Johanna to soak and tank all that damage. Rhaegar, the solo heal is definitely viable, definitely doable as well. He can dish out quite a bit of damage himself as well. Abathur just to be an annoyance, you know, pushing down those lanes, setting up those mines, and just you know, being able to copy one of those heroes. I think he's gonna go for the Greymane though, so that should be fine. In terms of predictions, I think it's pretty evenly matched up. I'm just worried again about Skyline not having enough DPS, because going for the double bruiser and double support combination yet again, we saw in the previous game, you know, how lacking in damage that they had. That they couldn't, you know, deal with the amount of heals that were coming off of Renovatio's medic. But this time around, I think it should be slightly easier for them because they don't really have a medic to deal with. They just have the Rhaegar, and Abathur will be in the back lines. Essentially, they're playing 4v5 Renovatio early on in this game until Abathur reaches that level 10 and will get a body in those clashes. But yeah, I think it's pretty even here in terms of drafting, but I'm still going to have to give it to Renovatio a little bit because they do have the slightly more DPS, and I'm just liking their lineup a little bit more. So I think Renovatio should have this game, along with the amount of experience that they have as well. So for those of you just tuning in, this is the Heroes Global Summer Circuit. This is the Philippines Finals happening right now. This is a LAN event happening on site somewhere in the Philippines as 4 teams battle it out. as we try to narrow it down to the top 2 teams to represent Philippines in the C regionals happening next week, guys. So tomorrow will be the Thailand finals, which will be starting at about this time as well. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow as we try to narrow it down to 2 Thai teams to representation for next week's C regionals. We have already gotten our representation for Malaysia and Singapore. Malaysia, it is going to be Black Sheep 5 as well as Sabun Warrior Gaming, I think. And over here in the Singapore, it is going to be Resurgence and Relics yet again going to be representing Singapore in next week's C regionals. Will Renovatio hold their title of both champions of Philippines as well as champions of C, or will Resurgence take back their crown, or will we see a new team step up and get into the game here? All this excitement going to be happening soon, of course, and I believe we are just waiting for the teams to ready up right now. It does look like they are ready up. Yep, so they are just reading up. I think it's going to start really soon, guys. So thank you again for waking up and joining us in this cast this early morning. It is a really early morning. In fact, got up pretty early after casting the Singapore finals last night. So forgive me if my voice is still a little bit cracky. It hasn't fully woken up yet. I'll be drinking a lot of water, and make sure you guys do too. And stay with us for the rest of today as we head into narrowing it down to 2 teams, of course. So just want to do a quick shout out to some of our sponsors. We do have Razer, our official peripheral sponsor, guys. And make sure to check out some of their gear. Head over to their website and check out some of the gear available, as you can see from the nifty, as you can see from the nifty earlier on there. But do make sure to check out some of the gear from Razer, the official peripheral sponsor, as well as XSplit, our official streaming partner. Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring you guys this live broadcast, you know, all these cool effects. As you can see, you know, the technology is available, guys. We do have the replay cast available as well, and without XSplit, we wouldn't be able to be doing all this for you guys and bringing you all these games. So we are gonna go into the game. Oh yeah, we do have our Twitter shoutouts as well, guys. So make sure you guys head over to Twitter, open up your Twitter account, and tweet at us HGCSEA. The Twitter handle is HGCSEA. Tweet at us. Show your support for your respective teams, players. You want to do shoutouts to your friends. As you can see there, your tweets will appear as how Zenden's one is appearing right now, guys. So make sure you guys head over there, do your shoutouts, and we will manually pick them out, and we will feature them on stream. So we're getting into the game. It's going to be Renovatio again going up against Skyline. This is the game number 2. Skyline needs to win this to push this to a game number 3. We will see them on the red side. Penguin, I believe, playing on the Muradin. If they would stop moving around, I would be able to see it a little bit better. Makishi going to be on the Falstad. Extreme, I believe, is going to be on Troll. Panda Bruiser going to be on the Uther. And Wipeout is going to be on the Tiranda. Over on the blue side, the Renovatio, we're going to see Haha going to be on the Johanna, Hiskoa on Greymane. Stronger, they're going to be on the Rega. VYY going to be on the Abathur, and top lane, we're going to see Jumpy Lion on the Sonya. It does look like Skyline wants to set something up here. Here we see the Stormbolt going to connect onto Greymane. Here comes the Tiranda stun as well, and down goes the Greymane. A really quick succession with the amount of burst damage coming out from the Tiranda boost. His trade there will be able to boost up the damage, the marksman, and down goes the Greymane. Early on, they will be able to pick themselves up 1 kill. That's really encouraging for them, of course. They need to win this game to bring this to a game deciding number 3. So that's going to help them out a little bit, as the rest of the red team, they look like they are just going to rotate around here. Those Abathur mines, though, are going to slow them down, and it is going to annoy them quite a bit. Look at Makishi taking quite a bit of damage from those mines, and it's just so annoying. For those of you who've dealt with a Abathur in your game before, you know, those mines, when you walk around, they dismount you, they do some damage, and it's just really annoying to deal with. But that's the role of an Abathur early on in the game, of course. It's just to annoy and annoy and annoy. Falstad will be able to fly towards the bottom lane as they look to set something up here. Uther is going to get spotted out, though, by the mine, and that's going to blow his cover in terms of setting something up. First shrine is about to be activated at this bottom lane. So expect Sonya, as you can see him, to start rotating towards that bottom. Muradin and Tiranda were trying to set something up. I think they just narrowly missed him out there. They don't know that he's actually not up there at that top lane anymore. So Abathur, though, he is going to continue soaking on in this lane, and this is where they have to fight the first shrine 4v5. Sonya is going to activate the shrine and try and get a head start in terms of those minion kills, but at the middle lane, though, Har could be in some trouble. Johanna will fall. Uther, though, will die to the Greymane as he does a good job taking him out, but he himself is in some quite deep trouble. Rhaegar gonna get stunned out by the Uther, preventing him from getting off the chain heal, and down goes the Greymane. So 2 heroes already down from on the Renovatio side, as Skyline will be able to now secure themselves these minion counts at this first shrine. I think they should be able to get this pretty easily as well. Falstad just continuing the soak in the middle lane while Uther makes his way back towards the shrine. They do have 18, 19, about 20 now in favor against a 10 on Renovatio, but Renovatio will make themselves available here at this shrine. Not too sure why the red team were afraid there. Here comes Penguin though. Thunderclap going to be used. Stormbolt going to storm out onto that Greymane. Jumpy Lion going in. Shield going to be used as well. Sonya spinning all around onto Uther's face here as he will have to back off. And just the amount of damage coming out from Team Renovatio, just too much to deal with here for Team Skyline. And as I mentioned, you know, Skyline, they don't have that crazy amount of damage, and they stun in on Johanna. Might be the wrong target for them to actually go for, though. Rhaegar keeping him alive. He is going to use his shield to keep himself alive as well. And Jumpy Bruiser, he's taking quite a bit of damage. Sonya hitting him down, hit by hit, strength by strength. Going to be able to storm up onto the ground. Troll taking quite a bit of damage himself. He's going to have to back off here. Penguin going in a little bit too deep and gets taken down. Blind going to be used as well, as they won't be able to have the damage to take them out. Uther going to fall as well. This is turning out to be a disaster for Team Skyline as they lose 4. Unable to take down anyone from Team Renovatio, and they will be able to pick up the Mortar Punisher themselves as well. And this is just what looked like a really good start for Team Skyline. Just dwindled down, you know, kill by kill, as Renovatio pulls themselves 1 ahead in terms of those levels, and will be able to take down the bottom set of forts as well. This is looking really, really terrible for Team Skyline early on in this game. They had a good early game, picking off a couple of kills, pulling themselves ahead, but you know, just like that, Renovatio just pulls themselves back ahead with that 1 clash, you know, being able to sustain themselves throughout. They are dishing out quite a bit of damage now onto his Goa. With the hat, he is able to survive though. Rooted in on Jumpy Lion, he could not be so lucky. Here comes the Dwarf Toss in. Stormbolt going to connect as well, and they will be able to pick off a kill onto that Sonya. That's going to help them out in their cause a little bit here in trying to regain their composure. They are now 2 levels behind. They are going to get a level 7 soon, so that's going to put them on the same talent tiers, of course. And again, this is the problem that I was mentioning during the draft, is that because with the Johanna, as we saw in the previous clash, unfortunately we aren't able to bring up the replay, but Johanna with the blind stopped the damage coming in from Team Skyline to finish them off. And in turn, they were able to turn the tables and take them down 1 by 1, you know, and Skyline just melted there. And they don't have enough sustained DPS. In terms of their lineup, if you can see, they only have the false start. They don't really have a huge amount of burst. Actually, we do have a replay available, so let's check out what happened and what went wrong in that clash. As you can see here, they were all really low. The entire blue team were really low. Troll was able to get away. Penguin just dove a little bit too deep. And look at Haha, dropping really low again. They did not have the DPS, and the blind coming out, just not able to dish out the DPS from their team. And then the shield being used by Haha as well to keep himself alive, and down goes 4 heroes. Really, really unfortunate there for them. And that's the problem with their lineup right now. They don't have a huge amount of burst. They're relying a lot on those melee hits and auto attacks. And with the blind, they just weren't able to finish them off because their attacks were, of course, missing. And that led to Team Renovatio being able to survive there by the skins of their teeth, but ultimately coming out on top. It is, of course, still a 5-5 in favor kill advantage, not a 5-5 kills for both sides. So Renovatio, though, they are level 10 after taking down the bottom set of forts themselves, so they do have their heroic talent available. Taking a quick look at those heroic talent pickups as well, I don't see anything too out of the ordinary. We do see Blessed Shield onto Johanna, go for the Throat onto the Greymane, Ancestral Healing going to be picked up by Rhaegar. Abatur, of course, going to get the ultimate evolution to be able to clone, and Wrath of the Berserker going to be picked up by Sonya as well. Nothing too out of the ordinary for me there. Blessed Shield by Johanna providing the tankiness for him. Go for the Throat, pretty standard pickup there for Greymane as well. As now Skyline just focusing on pushing down this wave along with the false start at the bottom to get that level 10. They are going to give a huge head start though to Renovatio. I don't think they will be able to contest this shrine as they are already at 30 creep kills. 32 in fact. So they are now only going to reach their level 10, as we do see Sundering, Mighty picked up by Troll, Mighty Gut's going to be picked up by that false start. Uta actually not going for Divine Shield, so going for Divine Storm. That is something really interesting for me. I haven't really seen that. Haymaker going to be used up by Muradin along with the Starfall as well on the Tiranda. This is turning out to be a really interesting game here by Skyline, as we see a clash happening. Harhar getting stunned out there. Makishi dropping really low. Will be able to barrel roll. Will use the Mighty Gas to disengage for the rest of his team. And that could have been really big trouble for Team Skyline, as very well placed Mighty Gas will help them disengage and get out of that fight. Troll still at that top lane, not too sure what he's doing there. The team needs him back at base, and he is now mounting up and making his way back to the base, but the damage could have already been done. Here we see though, his Goa jumping behind enemy lines here. Might not have been the best ideas. Ancestral Healing going to be used to pop himself right back up. Nice Thundering there. Gonna push both the Greymane and Sonya behind enemy lines and gets taken down just like that. I think Renovatio just overextended a little bit too much. Greymane went behind enemy lines and he was in a bad position there. The Sundering was well placed, pushing both the Sonya and Greymane away from his team. And that led to the demise of both those heroes. So that's going to pull themselves back, as we have a replay available. Let's check out how that happened. As you can see here, Renovatio just jumping a little bit too deep in here. Greymane, I think, jumping behind the enemy lines as the Punisher went in the back as well. As you can see here, Greymane jumping behind as Johanna in the back lines. And then here comes the Sundering, just as, I mean, the Ancestral Healing brought him right back up, but here comes the Sundering from the side, splitting up those two teams, and Sonya and Greymane. Just unfortunate, they were caught on the wrong side of that, and then they got taken down. And with that, you know, Skyline will be able to get themselves back leveled on EXP and very well back into this game, though they do lose 2 sets of forts, of course, and a couple of towers in the inner sides of the keeps. But they are very well still in this game, as we see so far. If they are able to keep up what they have been doing in those clashes and just taking it to their towers, they definitely will be able to actually have a contention in this game. Of course, level 13 going to be picked up by the blue side. But let me talk about those talents a little bit here. They are really interesting. They know that they are lacking in DPS. Okay, we've talked about this. Their lineup lacks in that DPS. So for Uta to go the Divine Storm, and for Haymaker to be picked up by Muradin, I think that was the right decision. They do have a lot of melee heroes over on the blue side. In fact, I think all their heroes actually are melee, aside from the Greymane, but he essentially goes melee as well himself. So I think the Divine Storm pickup is definitely fine, because Uther is going to be in the front lines, and I don't think the Divine Shield will play a huge role, in fact, in that. Starfall as well to zone them out is definitely a really strong pickup, and the Haymaker, as I mentioned before, Haymaker with the recent buff, I think does quite a bit of damage. Here we see though a clash is going to be happening here. Clone is going to be used on the Greymane. VYY trying to get into the front lines, trying to dish out as much damage as he can, but Mighty Gas again going to be used to disengage the rest of the blue team, the red team. Though they come in from the side now, Penguin taking quite a bit of damage. You don't have the Avatar, my friend, so he is going to have to back off. Here comes Jumpy Lion spinning around, dishing out quite a bit of damage. Everyone dropping really low, but finally they are going to be able to take out the Uther. Penguin dropping really low himself. He's not going to have the Dwarf Toss available, and he's going to back off there. Makishi caught in no man's land as he gets taken down himself. So false start, Uther and Muradin going to fall. A very well placed clash here by Renovatio, as they will be able to take them out. I think the problem there for Team Skyline was that they did not wait for VYY's clone to actually vanish first, before to finish up before they actually went in. They didn't focus it down early enough, and that led to Jumpy Lion just doing so much damage. And with the heals coming off from Rhaegar, he was just kept alive throughout the entire fight, and he dished out so much damage. As you can see here, let me check the stats a little bit real quickly. Look at the amount of damage that Sonya is doing, 22,000, along with the Abathur. You know, pretty much same on hero damage, and that's just what's killing them right now. Look at that Jumpy Line. He's just playing so balls to the walls in the front lines, just spinning them down, going in onto the Penguin. Haymaker going to be used to actually force him back, and I definitely disagree with that. VYY again going to clone up on the Greymane, goes in, picks off that Muradin, and this is going to be a really bad situation for them. Extreme going to fall as well on that Troll, and Renovatio could probably just end this right here. Mortar Punisher going to summon a few of those arcane orbs as they're just spinning around, dealing damage onto that core. Here comes the blue team as well. They are looking to push them and end this right now. They're just focusing down the core, and Sonya, again, as we saw in the previous game, not giving a damn about those heroes and just pushing down the core. And again, with one push, a 12-minute game is going to be GG. Renovatio taking game number 2 will be able to get themselves into the winners bracket finals and, you know, putting one foot forward into the C regionals right now. They just need to win the next game. They are one matchup away from qualifying to the C regionals, and I think Skyline just needs to go back and re-evaluate again a little bit their lineup and their drafting. Again, we saw the weakness in their drafting with not having enough DPS, and that forced them to pick up those talents such as Divine Storm, Starfall. But the problem with that is they were not built as DPS classes in the first place, guys. So they need to rethink their draft a little bit, because right now Sonya seems to be giving them a huge amount of a headache here. And it does look like it is one of their staple heroes. Just from the first 2 games, as we can see, Sonya doing so much work in those games. As you can see here, 27,000 hero damage and 45k siege damage as well. And Abatha in that game just dished so much damage. I think they should have waited for the clone to finish before they engaged that on that last clash. But really well played to Renovatio. We have to give it to them. You know, that is the reason they are the top team in Philippines, or at least they are trying to retain their crown. We have seen them, heard rumors that they've been scrimming against Korean teams and practicing over on the Korean servers, playing with lag. So what more when they come back to the Singapore servers and play without lag, guys. So they are the team to look out for. They are, of course, the reigning C champions. Will they be able to retain their title? That's the question. They will. They are one matchup away from securing their slot in the C regionals. Of course, guys, Skyline are not out of it just yet. They are going to drop down to the losers bracket, and they have a shot at this. They still can come back into this from the losers bracket. So will we see more of Skyline? That is the question. Right now, we're going to go for a really short break, and as we wait for the next matchup to happen. So make sure you guys stay tuned, guys. This is the Heroes Global Circuit. This is the Philippines finals happening right now. Join us as we narrow it down to the final 2 teams to represent Philippines in C regionals next week. Be right back, guys. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to do so. Putrid Bile all over the place as he's just farting everywhere. Paramo just still running for his life here. And Falstad is going to fall. Sonya, though, is going to fall himself as well, along with the Uther. Force Wall going to be used to try and stop the push here, but the Arcane Orb is proving to be too much damage.